Hello FPL managers, today we have a look at the highest predicted point players for Gameweek 1 of the new FPL season. In today's video we have a look at 5 players which are projected to get the most points for Gameweek 1 of the new FPL campaign, as I'd recommend having at least 2 of these players in your starting squads. The stats for today's video are provided by Fantasy Football Fix, so if you guys want to get the edge this preseason, then click the top link in the description to get yourselves 65% off Fantasy Football Fix Premium and also get a free strategy guide. So just before we get into the video, don't forget to like and subscribe to show support for the channel, as we're trying to hit 3k subs by the Gameweek 1 of the new FPL season, and also click that notification bell so you guys don't miss any future uploads. And with that being said, let's get into the video. So taking a look at the first option on the list, it is an essential option in my eyes in Mohamed Salah. Salah is coming in as the tied most expensive player in FPL at £12.5 million and is currently the second highest owned player in FPL with a 49.3% ownership, only behind Luke Shaw. We all know Mohamed Salah as an FPL beast, and he got himself 231 FPL points last season, which did make him one of the highest scoring players. He is such a consistent performer for Liverpool, as once again he got himself 22 goals and 6 assists in last year's campaign, providing returns very consistently for his owners. Over the span of last season, he did have the second highest XG at 20.25, only behind Harry Kane, and also had a fairly decent XA of 6.53 as well. His XG per 90 was 0.59, which is the 4th highest in the league, and he also had an XA per 90 of 0.19, totaling for a very impressive 0.77. Salah had the 4th highest XG per 90 last year at 0.59 and also had an XA of 0.19, totaling to 0.78. And with a starting chance prediction of 97% by Fantasy Football Fix, he is definitely a nailed-on option in that Liverpool midfield, where you could see the likes of Jota maybe sneaking into the lineup. He currently has the highest predicted Gameweek 1 points by Fantasy Football Fix, which is currently sitting at 7. This is obviously due to their very nice Gameweek 1 fixture against Norwich away, which you would definitely expect Salah to score in. So for Gameweek 1, he is definitely an essential option, and I just think in general he's such a good player to have as an FPL asset, especially considering that Liverpool also face Burnley in Gameweek 2, then Chelsea, Leeds, Palace and Brentford after that. Now moving on to the second highest predicted points getter, it is Sadio Mané. Salah's teammate is coming in at £500,000 cheaper at £12 million and is a very differential option with just a 3.9% ownership. This performance was down on his previous years, but he still got himself 11 goals and 11 assists. His underlying numbers were actually quite impressive, as he did have the 3rd highest XG for midfielders at 14.83, which was actually only around 1 below Bruno Fernandes. He also had an XA of 7.79, which did rank fairly high for midfielders as well, so he definitely did underperform his XG and XA last year. He also had an XA of 7.79 last year, which was actually the 8th highest amongst all players, so he did underperform his XG plus XA. Mané also had a 0.73 expected scoring avoidance per 90, which is very high, and only just below his Liverpool teammate in Mo Salah. As I touched on with Salah, Liverpool's great fixture run does continue as they face Burnley, Chelsea, Leeds, Crystal Palace and Brentford after their Norwich fixture in Gameweek 1, so I definitely think Mané could be one of the highest scoring players for the first 6 weeks of the season. So with a starting chance of 88% predicted by Fantasy Football Fix, and also with a projected Gameweek 1 points of 6.8, he is definitely a very nice option to have for Gameweek 1 of the new FPL season. Moving on to the third player on the list is another midfielder in Bruno Fernandes. Fernandes is coming in at the same price as Sadio Mané at £12 million and has a very high 43.5% ownership. This does make him the second most popular midfield option and the third most popular option in FPL overall, which is fair to see why, as he was the top scoring player in FPL last season with 244 total points. With 18 goals and 14 assists under the belt, he was very prolific once again for Manchester United, as he seems to be the main creative source in their attack. He has made a good start once again in the preseason for Manchester United, and his underlying numbers last year were fairly impressive as well. He did have an XG of 16.02, which was the second highest amongst midfielders, and his expected assists of 11.47 didn't rank highest in the league. They were around 0.5 higher than Kevin De Bruyne's numbers, and since his expected score avoidance per 90 is sitting very high at 0.79, you definitely would expect him to be a very reliable point source. Obviously, Bruno Fernandes did outperform his XG and his XA last year, as did get himself quite a few penalties, but I would still expect him to be one of the highest scoring players once again this season. So with a 96% chance of starting and also a 6.7 projected points for Gameweek 1, he is definitely a very enticing option early on. United obviously have some very good fixtures from an attacking standpoint, as they face Leeds, Southampton, Wolves and Newcastle as their first 4, and especially their Gameweek 1 fixture against Leeds at home, you would expect to be a very free-flowing game. And moving on to the fourth player on the list, it is the first defender in Trent Alexander-Arnold. The Liverpool defender is coming in at £7.5 million as he is the most expensive player at the back for FPL assets this season. With a 28.9% ownership, he is the second highest owned defender, only behind Luke Shaw, and it is clear to see why, as he got himself 160 total FPL points last year, which was the second highest amongst defenders. He was very impressive at the back end of last season, as he got himself 2 goals and 8 assists across the span of last year, which was also accompanied with 10 clean sheets. Also, with the return of many Liverpool defenders to training, such as the likes of Matip, Gomez and Van Dijk, you definitely would expect Liverpool's defence to be shored up this season. Alexander-Arnold ranked top for expected assists for defenders last year, getting 8.5, and also had one of the highest expected assists per 90 as well at 0.25. He's also on corners and free kicks for Liverpool, which does increase his goal and assist output, so he is very good at both ends of the pitch. So with a 99% chance of starting for game week 1 and a predicted points of 5.6, he's definitely a very nice option to have for that fixture against Norwich. As I've touched on before, you would expect Liverpool to dominate in this game, and if Trent can accompany a clean sheet with a goal or an assist, he would definitely be one of the top scoring defenders coming into the first few weeks of the season. And now moving on to the fifth and final player on the list, it is Jamie Vardy. The Leicester striker is coming in at £10.5 million as he is coming in as the premium striker option. With a 10.4% ownership, he is moderately differential, as he did have a very promising season last year, getting himself 187 FPL points. This did make him the third highest scoring forward last year, only behind Kane and Bamford, as he enjoyed a very nice season. Over the duration of his 2800 minutes, he did get himself 15 goals and 14 assists, as he was very impressive for Leicester up top with Kelechi and Nacho. Despite being overlooked by quite a few managers, he did have the third highest expected goals last year, which was sitting at 19.94. He obviously significantly underperformed this, so it does hold extra promise for him to get himself plenty of goals next season. He did also have one of the highest expected assists of 5.09, which is very good amongst forwards, and with the XG per 90 of 0.63, this actually ranked third highest amongst all players last year. This XG per 90 only was behind Kane and Antonio, and with also an expected assist per 90 of 0.16, you would expect him to make a great start for Leicester. His 0.79 expected scoring performance per 90 actually tied with Bruno Fernandes, and with Leicester's very good fixtures to start the season of Wolves, West Ham, Norwich and City, you would expect him to make a good start, especially in the first 3 weeks. So that's all I've got for today for the highest predicted point players for Gameweek 1 of the new FPL season. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, give it a like and subscribe to show support for the channel. And once again, turn that notification bell on so you guys don't miss any future uploads. Also, leave a comment what you guys thought of this video, and do you have any of these players in your starting squads? And with that being said, I'll see you guys in the next one.